Prince Naseem Hamed was a fighter who captured the imagination of boxing fans across much of the world. He was gifted with explosive power, amazing balance, and incredible speed in both hands and feet. The Sheffield featherweight was also a natural showman, from his arrogant strut to his outrageous flamboyance in the boxing ring. His confident swagger was certainly not to everyone's taste, but if you loved or hated him, you simply just had to watch the Prince. Nas, as he was known, first walked into Brendan Ingall's Winkerbank gym at the age of 7. It didn't take long for the canny Irish trainer to know he had a real star on his hands. Hamed made his debut in 1992 at 18 and was soon climbing the professional ranks at blistering speed.
Terrific right hand.
Just 3 years later, he outclassed Welsh world champion Steve Robinson in Cardiff to claim the WBO title in devastating fashion.
Oh, he's got him. Down goes Robinson for only the second time in his career. An arrogant display, cocky. You may not like it, but you do have to admire what this young man possesses. Oh, that's a superb left hook, and it is over.
I was too strong, too fast, and too good, and I'm world champ.
Hamed continued to build momentum with a switch-hitting style that relied on sharp reflexes and spiteful punches thrown from crazy angles. But the Prince was not quite as invincible as he thought.
Oh, he's got him down! He wasn't so elusive there.
He was given a painful wake-up call in his second world title defense against Daniel Alessia.
Heavy right, and the left, and I don't think he'll get up from that, it's called off. And that was Hamed's answer to suffering the first knockdown of his career.
What did it feel like when you went down for the first time?
It was beautiful. It was good. It was nice to taste, a nice, good shot.
Hamed could be hit and hurt, and there was now a hint of vulnerability about the young world champion. Nas did his best to banish this with a commanding performance against Detroit's Tom Boom Boom Johnson soon afterwards.
We are surely only seconds away here. If Naseem can find another big punch like that, a right uppercut. He's twice a world champion, and again the finish was electric.
The clamour was building for the Prince to cross the Atlantic and showcase his skills to the US fans. And there was a New York fighter who was more than keen to oblige him. Kevin the Flashing Flash Kelley was an experienced southpaw from Brooklyn. Arguably his greatest performance.
Dio says, I am the best featherweight in the world, and I will prove it here. Let's see. Talk is one thing, action's another. What happens when he feels the power and speed of Prince Naseem Hamed's punching? Still just working almost exclusively with jabs, and he does have this way of throwing other punches from crazy angles, particularly that kind of corkscrew type uppercut. You saw it attempted there. There's a left hand, that's rocked for Dio. Then a right as well.
That's good stiff right hands going in.
He's picking the punches excellently. Now it looks here as if he's decided that he's going to get the argument finished. No, that's not a knockdown. Huge jab. And now he's going through the razzle-dazzle. He's dancing while they're clinching. Hamed, watch the use of the shoulder.
Again, that right hand working so well, and this is a very confident Hamed.
Well, look at this. I think he's trying to do all this for the Sheffield fans. He's playing to the audience, trying to taunt poor Padillo, who's taking all this. So far, it's basically just been a kind of boxing masterclass, really. This fellow is durable, but even he was wobbled by that. Then a right. Blood coming from his nose. This could be the finish now. They want to stop it. Padillo's corner want to stop it. They've rescued him. They don't want him to take any more of this. And Prince Naseem Hamed retains the WBO featherweight championship for the 8th time. Barry McGuigan has just described that performance as brilliant, Naz. Your thoughts about it, please?
Well, I think he's telling the truth. What can I say? It's my 8th defence tonight. I ain't getting beat, basically. And Kevin Kelley's here tonight, and he's seen the skill of the Prince and the strength and the ability and the accuracy and the speed. Oh, gosh.
Here is Kevin Kelley. Have a sit down, Kevin. Here you are. Let's have a chat. Let's have a chat. Now then, what have you got to say to him now?
Can I just say, he's right in front of me, and I can honestly tell him that I'm going to knock him spark out. I'm going to knock his spark out.
What are you got to say to that, Kevin?
Relax, baby.
You relax.
You gonna get knocked out
Let me tell you.
in your hometown.
Naz, you had a great performance.
New York.
You're nice and hyped.
Madison
Excited.
Square Garden.
But I'm the real deal.
I can't wait to beat you up.
I'm the real deal. I'm looking
can't
to your
wait.
face, and I'll tell you the face.
Go on. Look
I'm
at me
going
now.
to smoke your boots.
We'll see.
Because I am the best featherweight in the world.
We will see.
Hamed versus Kelley was soon announced for December the 19th, 1997 at the legendary Madison Square Garden, and a huge promotion began to build the Prince's profile in the city that never sleeps. Back home in Yorkshire, Hamed began preparations under the watchful eye of Brendan Ingle. Meanwhile, his face was being illuminated on huge billboards next to Times Square. Naz and his team then set off for New York in early December, and he was lacking none of his usual confidence at the airport.
I'm ready, I'm fit, I'm well, and I'm ready to do the business, you know what I mean? Madison Square Garden going to be ready for us, you know what I mean? Is it big enough? Is it ready for me?
Training camp was originally set up at Chelsea Piers on the west side of Manhattan. The huge complex seemed well adapted for Naz to try his hand at basketball. However, the Prince was less than impressed with its boxing facilities.
Sweat up. You're not working? No, I gotta take it out. What out?
How do you get out? You put 14. I want to treat from there. Don't go and ruin it. I'm not going to ruin nothing.
World champion, put in, I want to make the training. Full training. Is it?
Cracks had started to appear in the relationship between fighter and trainer, and they resurfaced again in New York, with Hamed clearly not happy with his preparation. Ingle tried to make light of the situation, but the tense atmosphere was there for all to see.
He can be awkward when he wants, you know, he's just been on the pads, he's done about 14 rounds, and now he wants to do 20. What do you want to do 20 rounds for? You're not going to get any fitter at this stage, you know. So on the pads, he's just banged John's hands up, and he's just hitting me, and I can't hold my hand up now. He's nearly broke my hand.
Brendan returned to Sheffield for a few days to oversee Ryan Rhodes' world title fight, and Naz moved camp to the Blue Velvet Boxing Club near 5th Avenue. The atmosphere seemed much more upbeat, with Naz sparring Derby heavyweight Clifton Mitchell and Brendan's son John overseeing proceedings.
How is he hitting?
Well, he's just done like 12 rounds with me, and he's just done like 7 on the pad straight after. And anybody that's boxed and done pad work to spot and then to do 6 rounds on the pad straight after, you've got to be in good shape to do that.
Does he hurt you?
Yeah, of course it hurts me. It's hard. It's very hard, and people think, oh, he's just saying that because you're his friend or anything. Trust me, it's hard.
There was even time for Daniel Day-Lewis and Barry McGuigan to pop in for a chat and watch the Prince in action. Across town at the renowned Gleason's gym, Kelley was getting in plenty of southpaw sparring, including with a young Zab Judah. The Brooklynite was more than a little miffed that it was Hamed's face, and not his, that was dominating his local subways and sidewalks.
And when I understand walking the streets of New York City, people hate him because he's arrogant, he's cocky, you know, and he believes that people in New York like a winner. It has nothing to do with a win, it has to do with a person, a personality.
As the build-up continued, relations between the two fighters were spicy.
You ain't Prince Naseem, and after this fight, listen, I'm gonna trying to create a nice job for you, putting my posters up with HBO. Believe me, after this fight, right, you'll have a full-time job, forget about boxing. All you have to do is go to Lou DiBella, he'll give you a nice job, promoting my ass in Times Square every time I come in.
So Naz boasted that he would give Kevin a job when he next returned to New York. But was his promotional campaign working? I hit the city streets and found that while the Prince's fame was building...
Do you recognise this guy here, Prince Naseem Hamed?
No.
No?
Not everyone had heard of him.
No, I have no idea who he is.
He's going to conquer America, he tells us.
He tells, well, that's what all boxers do, don't they? Isn't that their job?
What do you think?
Well, I think he's a nice-looking chap.
Does it ring any bells?
Yeah, it's that boxer dude.
Yeah. Prince Naseem Hamed.
Huh? Take a look up there.
Okay. Okay, does that ring any bells now?
I know who he is now, yeah.
Oh, that's a real famous wrestler. I forget his name.
He's a boxer, Prince Naseem.
Prince Naseem. Oh, yeah, I've seen him in action before. He really got performance.
You're going to be watching him?
I don't know. I don't have the money to buy the tickets. You give me free tickets?
Naz had not won over the New York streets yet, but soon they would know his name. Anyone who witnessed that dramatic night in the Garden would always remember the Prince.
Sometimes I feel like throwing my hands up in the air.
New York has a rich boxing history, once known as the fight capital of the world. The city has hosted many of the boxing greats, and soon Naz would have his chance. As Fight Week came to an end, there was a real anticipation that the Prince would produce something special.
Listen, you don't run and I won't run. We'll come out and have a war in the first round. We got a deal. Don't back up. We got a deal. Let's go.
I think Naz has incredible athletic ability. I think he's got more speed than I've ever seen in a prize fighter.
Well, it's not about beating or winning or losing with this guy. It's about let's see this big show everybody's talking about.
It's great that there's an Englishman, a British person going out there and will prove to the Americans not only can he talk, he can fight.
Naseem Hamed has to win, as he says, in style. And what that means, very simply, is knocking Kevin Kelley on his butt, putting him on the garden floor.
Big time boxing!
Fight night arrived at the Garden, where a large crowd soon started to gather, and the merchandise stalls were doing a roaring trade. Hamed reached MSG early, but still got a loud reception before he was ushered to his dressing room under the stands. Hamed was supported by a large, boisterous group of fighters from the Winker Bank who were definitely enjoying the occasion. I attempted to interview them, and their leader appeared to be a certain cruiserweight, who I would get better acquainted with over the years.
Let's bring Johnny Nelson in. What's going to happen tonight?
Well,
I believe it won't go past 3 rounds. I reckon Naz will do a side of weight and take him out in 1 round.
Ali Hamed?
He's going to get knocked out in a fashion, bruv.
Yeah. Clifton Mitchell.
Hello.
The atmosphere soon began to build, and there was passionate support for both fighters throughout the arena.
If the Prince trained, it'd be different, but he doesn't train. He's going down.
I got the Prince because he's real cocky and he can back it up.
We got a little Kevin Kelley fan here. What's going to happen?
My school today. He was in my school, and I know this guy. He's gonna beat the Prince's ass. He's a wise guy.
Back in his dressing room, Nas was enjoying a pre-fight lie-down, trying to stay composed as the huge